Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video and welcome to another patch note breakdown. This is patch 14.3. I have heard something very recently, or like what's in this patch note actually, and it is about Vanguard, so we'll bring that up. But let's see what we are in store for. I'm hoping, and again, I don't look up patch notes beforehand because like it's kind of fun for me to look it up with you guys at the same time. Lethality nerfs would be nice, but let's see. Here we go. Oh, there are some lethality items, but we don't know the nerf yet. So, the nerfs to champions are Azir, Brand, Ezreal. I just thought Azir, I've not seen any. Karma, Lilia, Rengar, and Trundle. And then buffs, a lot of buffs. Aurelion Sol, Nidalee, Pyke, Shaco, Shyvana, Talia, Teemo, Wukong, Yorick, Zeri, and Ziggs. And we have champion adjustments to Corki, who are starting to take over with Malignance. Alawi, who's been struggling because of how much wider top lane is. Maokai and Zyra. We have system changes, and I'll go up here to show you. Essence Reaver, Ginsu's Hull Plate. They've typed Hull Plate. Isn't it Hull Breaker? Kainic Rukun, the item's OP. Non-health mana items, proc damage items. Rift Herald, Rod of Ages, Collector, and Yumu's. And we have new skins, which are Heaven Scale. But there we go. Vanguard, straight into it. So, it was previously communicated last patch that we'll be introducing Vanguard, Riot's proprietary anti-cheat software that will be required for all League of Legends and Teamfight Tactic games. However, this change has been rescheduled due to some critical bugs with the client pop-up we planned to have in 14.2, which causes us to delay one patch cycle. So starting in patch 14.3, we'll run diagnostic checks to see if your computer... I will say, I kind of thought this myself. On the client, if you clicked the cog, it was like run check Vanguard capability or whatever. Nothing happened. I actually checked that probably about 5-6 times in the last 2 weeks just to click it. Nothing happened. So that's, I guess, why, is they're now doing a patch behind just to see, like, hopefully it'll work now. Again, they do really need to invest in a better client, let's be honest. There's so many problems just from the client alone. So please review your troubleshooting guide, blah, blah, blah. So this change also means that we are pushing back Vanguard's launch from 14.4 to 14.5 and still give players plenty of time to get ready for this change by installing Vanguard. If you originally failed the check, it will rerun at a later point, or you can manually rerun it going from the settings. This will not mean that Vanguard is active or being used in League yet. This is just to give players ample heads up and opportunity to be ready for before its requirement. So basically, it's just check if your computer, laptop, whatever, is okay. If it says no, then I guess you need to change something. I don't know. Obviously, just reminding everyone, Windows is fine. I think up to like Windows 8 plus, maybe something like that. Anything older, probably not. Mac apparently is fine, even though Mac will not be running on Vanguard. Like Vanguard will not be running on Mac. They just, I guess, it's harder to cheat, I guess, on Mac. But unfortunately, Linux will be no longer compatible with League of Legends with Vanguard. So if you are a Linux user, you're going to have to either have a virtual machine running League via Linux, or you're going to have a Windows machine. So, yeah. So here we go, the Windows min spec update. So beginning Wednesday, the February 21st, so that's in like just over 2 weeks' time. We're updating our minimum system requirements and will no longer be supporting... Oh, wow, 8's gone. Windows 7, 8, or 8.1 for all League of Legends and Teamfight Tactic games. To maintain the stability and performance of our games, we sometimes need to deprecate? Whatever. Deprecate. That does not sound right. Support for legacy operating systems that aren't widely used by our players. If you're still playing on those versions, please consider... I've always kind of thought when this type of thing happens, like if someone watching this is like, what? No, ha! I know it's individually going to suck if you like Windows 8 or 8.1, but again, the percentage of that person that is doing that is so minutely small. That's what you have to sometimes realize. And the fact that they're having to, like, you know, bug test, QA test, all that stuff, when, like, for all these operating systems, it's taking resources out of probably such a minute percentage. And obviously, they are quite old. So, like, what are we on now? Windows 10 I use Windows 10. It came out in 2015. So Windows 10 is 2015. Windows, obviously, 11, I've yet to upgrade to that, came out in 2021. So it's not like even Windows 10 is really old, kinda. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get into the actual changes. So, Aurelian Soul. Q mana cost decreased, Stardust stacks per champion burst increased, W mana cost decreased, cooldown decreased, bonus damage during Q increased, E Stardust stack generation decreased, recommended skill order adjusted from QEW to QWE. So I would say, I've kind of mentioned it quite a lot already this season. Riot was kind of hyping up mage players, going, hey, mage players, it's going to be your year, boom, boom, boom. It hasn't been so far. You can play mages, but they're just not what Riot kind of said. They're still outshined by AP melee assassins, and they're still outshined by lethality champions. Like, just completely. They just are. So I'm hoping, we saw like there's going to be some item changes even with mage stuff. I'm hoping that some, there's some mage updates, and that's one. Aurelian Soul is a hyperscaling mage. So that's what I would hope. So Breath of Light, Stardust stacks per champion burst. Whoa, 1 to 3. So that's a lot better. So if he hurt, I believe that is if you hold down the Q on a champion and you complete, obviously, that like ring that used to give you 1 stack. It's now going to give you 3, rewarding you for doing that more in lane. That's actually quite nice. Mana costs, though, also are coming down. Mana costs are coming down. Again, his mana was really bad, to be fair, before. The cooldown is also being a lot better. And then when you're flying, I presume, you're doing bonus damage with your Q. That is also going up. And then the stacks that you're getting of your E, though, they're changing things. So you used to get 5 stacks on a champion takedown, only getting 2. You used to get 5 stacks for epic monster takedowns, you're getting 2. So these are all nerfs, technically. Stardust per cannon minions going down, and Stardust per large monster is going down. And you're like, what? Why? It's because of this. They're trying to encourage Aurelian to trade actively more and complete a Q cycle on an opponent. That's why. You'll probably end up... Well, it's a riskier playstyle in a way, but you'll probably end up getting more stacks overall if you are actively taking trades. If you're an Aurelian that is playing stupidly passive, this is bad for you. But if you're actually playing a bit aggressive or at least trading, this is probably a buff. Straight up. Is it? Base health regeneration decreased. That's it. Okay. So, yeah, it's basically now that Azir's soldiers apply on hit effects, he has fully moved over to Fleet Footwork as his main rune of choice. Now, thanks to his newfound sustain, he's become nearly impossible to push out of lane. So they're just nerfing his base health regeneration because he's using Fleet Footwork. Fair enough. Passive, Brand. I've been playing a bit of Brand. He's pretty strong. Spoiler alert, just to say, Unranked Diamond is going to be starting to be uploaded very soon. I played it today. We did the placement games and one more. And I will say I played a Brand jungle game. So... look forward to Unranked Diamond, everybody. I'm excited that it's coming back. A lot of people love that series as my main thing, so I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah. So, Brand. Damage to monsters modifier is going down on his passive. That makes sense. And Blaze no longer deals more than 2% maximum health damage over a single application. Yeah, the damage was bugged. It was a bit too high. And his Q is just being nerfed on base damage. So, honestly, like... it's not that bad. The aspect that Brand is strong in like team fights in mid game, this isn't really going to impact that. Like his jungle clear speed is going to go down a bit. That's fine. And honestly, his Q, that is again more for his jungle clear, if anything. Let's be honest, because he starts Q level 1. That's okay. This might be the bigger nerf, is a bug fix, but obviously a champion shouldn't have that available to them. It's like when Kayn last patch, and I've still seen it like a lot. This patch has been hilarious. Last patch they got rid of the interaction between Kayn and Summon Aerie. I have seen at least 4 or 5 Kayns in the last 2 weeks still take Summon Aerie because they don't read patch notes, and it was basically a bug or an interaction that Riot didn't want. This is why reading patch notes is important, because if now a Brand player goes, dude, what's happened to my passive damage is so low, it was bugged. So it's fixed now. Corki. So package duration decreased, W cooldown decreased, mana cost decreased, damage increased, malignance no longer that's the big one. Malignance no longer counts towards Eclipse's passive. That was a really strong interaction. I played one game of Corki. We lost it, and I don't think it's uploaded because my rest of my team fed. We did a really good comeback because the moment that I got like Malignance and Eclipse, oh my god, it was insane how much damage this champion did. It was mad. So they're buffing him in other areas because he's having 2 big nerfs. So Corki is getting a meaningful nerf this patch because of the interaction of Eclipse and Malignance being bug fixed. So again, they're calling it a bug. So because of that, they're giving him some other buffs. But again, just worth to say, Riot August, again, like him or not, he is one of the most influential people within Riot. He was on stream not long ago, and people clip his stream of things that he says, of his own opinions about the game, and it's important to hear the opinions of someone like him who is, like, you know, important. He basically recently was talking a lot about, you know, champions that they don't quite like or are unhealthy, and Corki came up. Because Corki, it's that topic that's come out quite a lot, is uninteractive gameplay. And there's quite a few popular picks that are all about being uninteractive. What does that mean? You can be interactive and you're dealing damage, and it's not just poke. You're actively stopping anything bad happen to you in a way. So the biggest 3 examples of uninteractive gameplay, I think, in Modern League are AD LeBlanc. So the whole point of AD LeBlanc is she jumps, presses W, auto attack, maybe presses Q, and W is away before you can do anything. It's not letting you interact. And that's the whole part of that whole kit. Corki is what August said is similar. He is ultimately only using his rockets and only damaging you from ages away. But then he has his W that's all about mobility that he can get away. So like people say, what's the difference with that and Xerath? Xerath is an immobile mage that can't just randomly get away. Corki can't. So it's all about, hee, I've hit you, I'm running away now. And the third one is Ashe support. So Ashe support ultimately isn't interacting or letting you interact back when she's just in lane, Wing and occasionally pressing R. She will like run away the moment a fight kicks off. She's not looking to fight. She's not looking to actually have an engaging interaction. She's just looking to press W. Those 3, I think, are the biggest offenders. So, I don't know, like Corki, they're buffing him, which is good, but it also sometimes feels like Corki himself is a bit in pro jail, because if he's strong, he does get played a lot because, again, that uninteractivity is strong. So, I don't know. We'll see if Corki... I doubt we're going to see him anymore. Ezreal. Q damage decreased and R damage decreased. So, yeah, Ezreal's been doing a pretty good amount of damage. They did buff him in 14.2 because, again, he's not a lethality AD carry. And Ezreal... believe it or not, he is always one of the highest played champions in the game. He usually is number 1. I think hilariously in this last patch, Smolder actually took his place for a few days. But in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years of League of Legends, Ezreal is normally the number 1 played champion all the time. He's fun, you know, he is. Because I think he obviously... mage players like playing him if they're AD carry. AD carry players like playing him. So he kind of goes to a couple of groups of champions. He also, let's be honest, in modern League of Legends where supports roam so much, he's really good at dealing with 1v2 because of his mobility. He can just, you know, farm with Q. He's pretty safe. Excuse me. So they're nerfing the ratio of the Q. And they're also nerfing the ratio more on his ultimate. So 10%, 5% AD nerf on his Q, and a 20% AD nerf on his ult, and also 25 less damage per rank 2. So that will impact Ezreal a bit. I will say he has been dealing a lot of damage. Alawi. So been a lot of discussion about Alawi. So the map changes really hurt her because, again, when they widened top lane, they basically, with Alawi's obviously strength is very heavily tied to her tentacles spawning on structures, it kind of screwed her a lot. So they are increasing the range of tentacles by 125, which is substantial. And because of that, they're actually nerfing the damage that they do, which is interesting. So they used to do 10 to 180 based on level, the 120% AD ratio and 40% AP. So they're now 9, one less, 162, 18 less, based on level, with a 5% AD nerf. So I guess because they're going to be more reliable, they're nerfing it preemptively. Fair enough. Karma, obviously being very strong with Malignance. So Karma's currently a bit too strong as a triple flex option with the ability to succeed in top, mid, and support. With her newfound power from Malignance, her ultimate is now too short of a cooldown and procs, obviously, the item. So we're taking the R plus Q explosion damage down a notch. That's not down a notch, bro. Oh my god. They want to make her a proper support again. No damage, apparently. So base damage, you can like, oh look, the sulfur damage is going up a level 1. Yeah. Then it's nerf, 40 at max rank, and then a 20% ability nerf. Ugh. Yeah, that's bad. And that obviously, if you're building full AP Karma that you would in mid or top, that sucks. So they're kind of being like, build support again, lads. Thank you very much. Maybe you'll buy a Malignance, but build support. You don't want all that AP because it's now really not doing that much. Damn. That's hard forcing that. Lilia, passive damage decrease, Q damage decrease. So yeah, just nerfing Lilia. Thing with Lilia, like, she's quite an annoying champion, but she's not mainstream. So a lot of people really don't understand. Like, she is strong. In the hands of a good player, she's really strong. So these are actually quite big nerfs, by the way. This one doesn't seem like a lot, but because it's a passive tick damage, it actually is. The Q, a 20% ability power nerf. That is big too. So that's big nerfs to Lilia. Mr. Maokai. So Maokai support, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's happened. Like, I don't pretend I know it all. Someone on Twitch chat asked me the other day, what's happened to Maokai? Why is he like the strongest support and he's got like a 57% win rate? I'm like, I have no idea. Genuinely no idea. So he's getting nerfed because he's obviously really strong. But I guess it's Maokai support finally has the freedom to rush movement speed tank items without facing off against other champions' mythics. So I guess that's why. So he's been happy about that. So he's getting nerfs. So his mana regeneration is going down. So if you're playing Maokai support, you can't just yeet the saplings all the time again. The passive heal, however, is going... what? Oh, it's a slight buff. From 4% based on level to 12.8. It was 12 before, so it's a 0.8 buff. Weird. Bramble Smash cooldown is going lower in... Oh, this maybe they're trying to move the gameplay. We'll see what they're doing. They might be trying to move it a bit. Wait, what? I'm so confused. These are all buffs. I thought they'd be nerfs because, again, he's been taking over. Why are they buffing him? So the cooldown is going down on his Q, and it's becoming cheaper. That's a good thing. His E was a 14-second cooldown. It's 16, so nerf at rank 1 or 2, but then it's neutralized at rank 3, and then it's a buff for the rest of the levels. It's also going down. Oh, it's going down in mana late game, but it's a bigger mana cost early. So I guess they're just trying to impact the early game. And then his ultimate, again, same thing. Impacting the early, level 6, longer cooldown, but level 16, it's 10% better, or a 10-second better. So yeah, I guess they're happy with Maokai being a thing, but they don't want him to be as strong early, I guess. That's still going to be pretty strong, though, I think. Interesting. Nidalee, not really a champion you see that much in patch notes. The problem with Nidalee is some champions are just this way. Nidalee is, you know that they say pro jail? There's one trick jail. And there are some champions that the average player that plays a bunch of champions just won't touch. They just won't because they've got a bit more of a niche play style, etc. And Nidalee is one of those picks. Whenever you see a Nidalee, 9 times out of 10, it's a one trick. It's just the way of Nidalee. So it's weird to see her sometimes in patch notes, but it is what it is. So they are magic resist growth increased, E heal increased, and bonus attack speed increased. All buffs. So more magic resist because she's been getting probably popped in the jungle by like Echo or something. And then the heal is going up, but the maximum heal is still double the minimum. So yeah, big AP buff for Nidalee, and also, whoa, big base healing as well. It used to be 95, now it's 150 at max rank with like 7% more AP ratio. That's pretty good. And also a 10% attack speed buff when you're healing someone too. That's good changes. Again, it's not going to make her mainstream, obviously, but I'm sure the One Trick Nillies will appreciate it, because why not? Pike, base armor increased, Q damage increased, mana cost decreased, E bonus movement speed increased, and E damage decreased. So Pike was struggling to stay above water in 14.1, but with the new the 14.2 rune changes further impacted him to the point that he needs a lifeline. In this patch, we'll be giving him because he can't build health. Pike doesn't get benefit from health, so like the health runes that everyone's now taking, it makes him really squishy, and everyone's got so much more health, I guess. Ooh, that makes sense, I guess. So his base armor's going up to help him survive a bit more. His Q's going to do more damage, 15% more AD, and the mana cost is going down in the early game to help him out in lane. The bonus movement speed of his W is going up, both by base, but also he gets plus 2% more movement speed per 1 lethality. So, like, if you buy, a lethality item that gives 20 lethality or 18 or whatever it is, he's getting quite a lot of movement speed through that as well. So he's going to be a fast boy at, a lot. And then his E, Undertow, is doing more base damage as well. So just a big buff for Pike. Fair play. Rengar, Mr. One-Shot McGee. So Rengar's damage is too high when snowballing. I will say, to me, a common denominator of a lot of these problematic champions is the lethality items. But what do I know? So his base health is going down. His Q is being nerfed. Not base damage, but AD scaling. And his empowered Q, same obviously thing, is being nerfed 10% as well. So it's more his AD ratio of his Q. It's still going to be probably quite strong if they don't nerf the lethality items. Mr. Shaco. Again, I've mentioned, obviously, I play a bit of Shaco. We had a really good Shaco game a few days ago. Has that been uploaded? I think it has. And a really good game of Shaco. I watch Pinkwood occasionally because it's actually just quite chill. Like, it's weird. As a content creator, he doesn't really talk, but that's sometimes quite nice just to chill and watch a game. So any Shaco buffs would be interesting to see. So mana regeneration growth is going down, so that does hurt AP Shaco. But it does say here, the Jack-in-the-Box buffs should help him clear the jungle faster and healthier, especially for AP builds, which are struggling more, while the mana nerfs should specifically bring down his abilities to poke down in lane so much. Basically, they're just trying to buff jungle Shaco a bit and hurt, I guess, top lane Shaco, but we'll see. So mana cost is going down on the Jack-in-the-Box. That's good. The bonus damage to monsters is going up. And grub proof, Shaco's Jack-in-the-Boxes are no longer one-shot by grubs. That's nice too. So good for jungle across the board. Mana cost of his Shiv is going up, so that definitely hurts lane phase Shaco more. And then especially, obviously, if you're combining the mana reduction, that sucks. Because his mana also in lane phase has never been good. I obviously was playing some support Shaco last year. His mana sucks. And then his R, so poof, Shaco's clone now creates an orange poof when it snaps back to Shaco or teleports for any reason. Oh. Shaco's clone duration is now displayed on the HUD, and Shaco's clone no longer loses its auto-attack target when casting spells. That's good. It used to be a thing for Shaco himself, that when Shaco used to Q, it used to be a green puff of smoke that you actually could see. They got rid of that because it made it too obvious with people getting better at the game. But they're giving it, Shaco's clone now creates an orange poof when it snaps back. That does sound like a nerf because it is making it more obvious which one is the clone. You can't really deceive people as much. But fair enough, I guess. It'll be interesting to see what Pinkwood thinks of all that. Because obviously he's the expert, but wow. Shyvana. Q empowered attack damage increased, bonus attack speed increased, and W movement speed increased. Again, looks to be AD builds trying to maybe do better. I don't know. We'll see. So we removed Night Harvester from the game, but AP Shyvana was here before that, and she'll be here long after that thanks to her dedicated player base. Since her AP build is something we know players enjoy, we want to make sure it remains viable. Oh, they're just buffing AP. Okay, yeah, her E does plenty of damage, by the way, so they're not touching that, but they're making the Q 15% more ability power ratio of it, and more attack speed as well. And then the W, bonus movement speed, scaling from her ability power more, so she'll be faster. I did play an AP Shyvana game a week ago or something. It went okay from memory. The damage didn't feel bad, but maybe I'll have to play another game with this buff. Talia, Q damage increased and E cooldown decreased. So, I don't see a lot of Talias, if I'm honest. Again, some people have actually asked me about it. Like, I love the world of Avatar. Earthbender represent. Why don't you play Talia? I don't know. I don't really. I've played her, but I just don't really enjoy the playstyle, if I have to be honest. It's like the whole you put your minds down and W. Like, as weird as I'm about to say, obviously people could put it as a bit like Anivia, but I just find her really repetitive. That might sound weird, and maybe some people get what I mean, but I can't explain it other than that. I don't know. The damage, though, of the Q is going up by base, and that's it in the early game. And then the E cooldown is being flattened to what it used to be at rank 5, so that's a buff. Mr. Timo quality of life update is Timo Q blind should now immediately apply to the targets hit by the Q. Wait, what? The blind should now immediately apply to targets hit by the Q. Oh, preventing Timo from taking damage from an auto attack after the blind has been applied. Blind duration should now also be consistent with the debuff duration above the target's health bar. So I guess it just wasn't really applying correctly. So there's that. Trundle. So Trundle has been doing well since his buffs he got all the way back in 13.23. We think that the mid-game power spike and enhanced synergies with Trinity Force that came with obviously a lot of us hate Trundle nowadays because it's literally we spoke about it at the beginning, uninteractive gameplay. Trundle is that, but for different reasons. The other three are doing it by using their abilities from range and not letting you attack them. You can attack a Trundle, he's just going to either ignore you and attack a tower, or he's pretty good in the 1v1, but he just wants to split push. There is nothing in a Trundle's mind. There is just one word, and that word is split push. The end. And obviously, split push got nerfed this year. They made Hullbreaker worse, and they made tower stronger. So Riot did that because the whole of last year, every top laner's default playstyle was split push, split push, split push, and it was boring for a lot of players, and you were winning a game, but you could not win because, oh my god, the enemy top laner is on our Nexus tower by himself all the time. It's a very frustrating playstyle, and again, it's always okay to have it occasionally, but when it was the default, it's unhealthy. It just is. Trundle still maintains that 100% split push identity, and I think they're just trying to tone that down a bit. And a lot of top laners, and I've mentioned it, a lot of top laners are still default split pushing. Why? Even though it's weaker? Because they did it for a whole year, because that's what it was, and they don't know what else to do now. You can't... Well, it's them not adapting to the change, but they also did it for a whole year, so it's hard to change, So his base health is going down, and his Q, bonus attack damage he gets from his Q, is being... Well, very big early game nerf, which I think is good, because he shouldn't be killing things in the early game, and he has been. It's being a little bit of a nerf in late game, but again, the AD ratio is staying the same. So they're just toning down it a bit. I actually do think, unless the item changes hit him a bit, I think he probably could have gotten nerfed a bit more than that. Twitch, if Twitch uses his E at the same time his poison expires on any enemy, they now will take damage based on the number of stacks they had when the poison expired. So this should result in the E being cast slightly, being more forgiving. Fair enough. Wukong, I have heard a couple people I think came in my Twitch channel a couple days ago and was like, Huz, have you seen the Wukong buffs? He's going to be crazy. We'll see. So his bonus range of his Q is going, whoa, that's why. Massive. Again, it used to get really long range when he got it rank 5, but early game he was always a little bit weak because he couldn't trade effectively. Well, they're making it 75 bonus range. It's now going to 135, so that's actually really good for early game trading. And the base bonus physical damage is also going up in terms of his scaling. And then his Nimbus Strike is going lower on cooldown, starting at rank 2, and then eventually being a second better at rank 5. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, Triforce pretty strong at the moment. He could go Triforce. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if we see, Lethality Wukong jungle. Hell, I might even give it a go. But, damn. Because Wukong used to be a jungler many years ago. Mr. Yorick, again, another split push McGee. So passive, and again, he's been building lethality, and Riot hates that. So we'll see what they're doing. So passive summon leash range decrease. Summons now gain bonus movement speed when returning to Yorick. That's quite nice. Q heal adjusted. Mana cost decreased. E cast time decrease. R bonus damage when attacking Maiden's target adjusted. So With a bunch of the new items to play, we thought it would be a good time to revitalize Yorick's classic Bruiser build, which should ultimately give him more durability and act as a frontliner for his team. Well, obviously, they've not been building like that. They've been building Lethality, which is not really his intended thing. So, yeah, it's going down. His summon leash, but they are gaining movement speed when they return to Yorick. So his Q of his heal. Okay. So the heal is staying the same. Doubled when below 50%. It's changing to your missing health instead. So more healing the lower health you are. And then halved versus non-champions. So less healing, obviously, when... Oh, that might be new, by the way. Half for non-champions. So... less sustain in lane phase, I guess, unless you're hitting enemies, and the mana cost is going down. The E, the cast time is going down, so that's nice. And then the R, when attacking Maiden's target. So what's this? So bonus damage when attacking Maiden's target was 369 maximum health, capped out a certain amount. 2 seconds cooldown. It's now 2.53 maximum health. Oh, so that's a big nerf, right? So again, bonus damage when attacking Maiden. So if Maiden's attacking something, Yorick did more damage. Because obviously when Maiden's attacking something, there's like a channel beam going on. So Yorick at, let's say, level 16 was doing 9% maximum health of his damage. Sorry, I'm getting confused. 9% of Yorick's maximum health was done as damage when Yorick was attacking Maiden's target. It's now going to 3% of his maximum health. Isn't that again, excuse me if I'm wrong, let me know. Isn't that a nerf to his Bruiser build? Because his Bruiser build has more health. The Lethality build has no health, so that doesn't impact it as much. It did used to have a 2-second cooldown. It's now no cooldown, so that will make an impact. Definitely. But like, still, that's weird to me. If someone knows Yorick a bit more, feel free to, in the comments, let me know. Oh god, Zeri, please don't buff Zeri. Like, the problem with Zeri, she's fundamentally got a broken kit. She's just one of those champions that really shouldn't have been released in her way. There's a bunch of champions like that nowadays. Again, a lot of the designers go, let's say, a bit too crazy. You know, Zeri, Cassante, Yone. They needed to rein them back in, but they just didn't. Whenever these champions get buffed, oh, it's not a good time. Because, again, it's with broken kits, fundamentally, just a little change could make them, oh, they're not very good, or now they're being played every single game, or they're banned. End of. And that's Zeri. That's one of the things with Zeri. So, base AD is going up, and her R is going lower on cooldown. 20 seconds less in the early game. Ugh. I'm not too fond of that. Mr. Ziggs, again, a classic mage that has been struggling a bit. So base armor increased, armor growth increased, and W cooldown decreased. Buff, buff, buff. So more armor growth, and cooldown on his W in the early game is going down. That's good for survivability if you're using it to disengage. Very nice. Zyra, again, this is a big patch, by the way. Jesus, we've already been going 33 minutes. We're still on champions. Zyra support doesn't need much mana due to how much regeneration she gets from her support items. So when Leandri's Torment lost ability haste, which doesn't affect her passive, and mana, which she does need as support, she was more than happy to simply get more damage and health in return. Mid Zyra, on the other hand, liked both of these things. This patch, we'd like to close the gap on support versus mid and jungle power levels. Oh god. We're happy with her primary being support, but we'd like to let Zyra Enthusiast feel more viable in more than just one role. By shifting her mana pool around to promote casting more Qs and partially making up for lost ability haste as a laner, she should be more than able to use her primary spells more often and keep up with other mids. I mean, she's never really going to, but okay. So the base mana regen, that is like nearly halved, which is kind of nuts. But the growth is getting doubled. The Deadly Spine's mana cost is going down, though. And then the W Rampant Growth Seed Charge progression on Minion Monster Takedown is going up. So that's a buff to mid lane or jungle Zyra. So she can have her W up longer, where obviously a support isn't last hitting as much. So I think she ultimately, unless it's like, oh, you know, I had a one-trick Zyra, I remember a few months ago. Unless it's a one-trick mid lane Zyra, she's just going to be a support. And I think that's maybe what Riot is saying is fine, but if you're a mid lane one-trick Zyra, they want you to be better in mid. But, yeah. All right, let's get into it. So, Essence Reaver, attack damage is going up. So, with the new item, Lethality became a much better stat for bot laners. Obviously, because they're all OP. Freak definitely didn't write this, because Freak thinks it's fine. So, attack damage is going up. So, it's already a good item, let's be honest. But, they're just making it better. Ginsu's Rage Blade. So, okay, so this is what they're doing is, well, we'll see what nerfs come to lethality items, but it looks like they're just buffing the other AD carry items to make it more like, hey, build this instead. So, yeah. They are changing the recipe of Ginsu's to give, well, it's giving more attack damage, more ability power, and they're just changing it slightly. So there's that. Hullbreaker fixed the bug that caused Hullbreaker buff to minions to unintentionally fall off when allied champion is nearby. Oh, so Hullbreaker will be a bit better, but again, not many people are buying it anymore. I've seen a few Trundles buy it, and that's about it. This item's mad. Kaenic Rooken has become a premier magic resist. Yeah, because it's stupidly strong. Crazy amount of magic resist, a good amount of health, and then I think, yeah, it was 20% of your maximum health as a magic shield. That item should never been allowed. It was crazy, but they're nerfing it a little bit. So the magic shield strength is from 20% of your max health, it's 18. The way that they should fix this, don't do max health. So, like, if you have a Mundo in late game with Kaenic Rooken, you're not doing damage to him as a typical mage. You're just not. Because he's going to be a full tank build Mundo with 5,000 plus health. So then 20% of that is 1,000 magic damage shield when it was 20%. That ain't happening. You ain't doing that as a typical mage. Nothing will help. And that's just that one item, let alone all of the rest of his items that he has as well. He could have Merc Treads. He could have Force of Nature. Literally makes it impossible for a mage to do damage to a Mundo. Or insert other tanks here. Even Singed and stuff like that. Like, it's mad. So the way to fix it, don't do maximum health. Maximum health includes your champion's health and items bonuses. This should just be going off item bonus health. So just the health that you get from items. That is what this should be scaling off, not all of it. And right now, it's all of it. So I expect this to get changed eventually again, but it's going from 20% to 18, not a big enough nerf. And then the shield refresh cooldown, 12 seconds without taking damage, now 15. So again, you could be a crazy big tank, big team fight, you survive, you have Warmogs, you also have Kaenic Rooken, you run away for 15 seconds, Warmogs has regened you to full health, and you get your 1,000 odd magic shield again. What? Like, no, that's crazy. Rod of Ages, so again, a buff to more typical mages, scaling mages. They're making Rod of Ages a bit better. Health is going up and mana is going up, so that's nice. Collector is getting nerfed. So they're, again, trying to shift power a bit, but... So this change is intended to increase the power levels of on hit and crit marksman and less to lethality. But again, a 5 nerf is not major. Yumu's. So with more ranged champions opting to pick up lethality in the new season, we need to dial back the amount of power they're getting from these items. It's not just... This is the weird thing. They're focusing on ranged champions. Melee champions, they're still stupid with lethality. What? I have no idea. So this is... It looks to be just a ranged nerf. It is. So outer combat bonus movement speed, everybody used to get 40. It's still 40 for melee. It's 20 for range, so it's halved. And then the active, when you push it, bonus movement speed was 20%. It's still 20% for melee. It's 15 for ranged. I don't know, dude. Again, Riot love lethality. I don't understand why they're still making it strong for everyone. And again, just to say, I'm not biased. I'm playing AD lethality champions because they're OP right now. AP, item, and proc damage changes. In this patch, one of our goals is to lower the amount of damage coming from item effects across the board, especially late game, as a way of lowering overall burst in the game. Good. We'd like to preserve overall item power as they appear to be in a good spot, but we'd be buffing some of these items as compensation for nerfing the actives. In general, we believe a champion should be bursty when their kits support it. Not because the items are doing the heavy lifting, which again was a curse with Mythics, and it does seem a little bit of a curse still. Items are too strong. So in general, where are we? One of the core issues we've had with Mythics, which is that what they're saying, it still is an issue. Items are still too strong. So these changes should help move the item system in that direction. One last note is that many of these items will still need to scale softly in order to keep up with the enemy champions' innate magic resist growth, which is why we maintain the scaling ratios instead of removing them entirely. While we were looking at proc damage, we also noticed that mana-hungry champions were generally itemizing effectively, but falling a bit on the weaker side. Typical mages. This is what I've been saying. As such, we're lowering the gold cost of mana items across the board, so these champions should be able to access their power spikes more quickly. Seraphs, 100 gold less. Just cheaper item. Echoes of Halia, damage per shield is going down, heal per shard is going up. So less damage, more healing. Alternator, ooh, that's a big nerf. So Alternator obviously it's a core item at the moment. Everything builds Alternator, legit. All the good items for AP. It was 50 to 125. It's now 65 at all levels. That's, again, a nerf for most of the game. Because remember, based on all levels, this 50 is like level 1. And then 125 is level 18. So by the time you're buying an Alternator, you'll be level 4, 5 maybe? So the damage will be roughly at the 65 level. So that is a nerf. Because then anything, if you get one at level 7, it's only doing 65, where at level 7, it might have done 80 damage before or something. So yeah, nerf. Rocket Belt, the damage is going down, both flat damage nerf and AP ratio nerf. Kraken Slayer, bring it down damage. Damage is going down from... What are we doing here? Oh, okay. Less scaling of it. So it's more flat damage, considerably more flat damage, but it used to have a plus 65% total AD ratio. That's gone. So that's probably an overall nerf, especially for late game, which is exactly what they said they wanted to do. Spell Damage Blade used to be 100% base AD with 50% AP. It's now 75 base AD with 50. So again, a nerf. Ludens, again, hilariously, mage items. I've had some people go, no, mages are fine. How's they fine? They have not been fine. As someone that plays all the different champions types, I can tell you, as playing AP melee, AD lethality, and mages have been nowhere near as good. They're getting buffed their items. So Ludens is cheaper. Combined cost is cheaper from components. Ability power is going up, and the fire damage, however, is getting nerfed because that's obviously what they're doing with items. They're nerfing damage, but not as a big nerf than the others. Malignants. Cost is going down. Combined cost is going down. Damage per second is going down, but just with the AP ratio. The magic resist shred is being flattened to 10. So again, a little bit of a nerf. It's a buff if you rush it, probably. But other than that, nerf. But again, all items are being overall nerfed. And Profane Hydra, again, another one of these problematic items, especially with like Rengar and stuff. The passive cleave damage is going up. Why are you buffing it? So they're buffing the passive cleave damage. That's when you're just auto-attacking. But obviously the proc is the active when you press it, which was an execute. Below 50%, it used to be 150% of your total AD. It's now 130. I think you could have done this change, but also not done this. Again, why buff it in any way when it has been a very good lethality item? It's weird. Very weird. Static Shiv is being made cheaper. And the damage of it is going down considerably. 100 to 180. It's now going to 90. Obviously, I have seen a couple AD LeBlancs around. They do buy Static Shiv. That might be the reason that they're nerfing it again. Storm Razor, bolt damage is going up in base damage, but no more total AD as a ratio, gone. And the movement speed, though, you're getting more movement speed. So less damage, more movement speed, which is good. Storm Surge, ability power is going up. And the Squall damage is being kind of like flattened it was 100 to 200. It's now 140 plus 20% of your AP. So not a crazy nerf, but remember, this item has already been nerfed, I think, twice. So that's probably why. Sundead Sky, less attack damage, more health. So less damage, and it's tankier. Titanic Hydra, more health. This item has been quite good, to be fair. more health, and then the active when you push it as the actual ability. It was 6% of your maximum health as a melee, 3% for range. It's now 4% for melee, 2% for range. So damage nerfs across the board. System changes, Rift Herald. I think this is maybe the last thing that we'll be talking about, because then it's all ARAM and stuff. So the new Rift Herald has proven a bit too hard to control. It's not hard to control. I literally today, one of the Unranked to Diamond episodes, I literally crazy control it really well. So you can control it. I just kind of dealt with once, and I've seen it a bunch. It bugged. Whenever you jumped in it and you're aiming away, it just shot the other way, and it's like you just went straight into a wall. That's happened to me once, but I don't think it's hard to control. So they're just making it easier to turn and giving Herald a few small quality buffs. I also think Herald's a bit too forgiving, I would say. When you're in Herald and you smash against a tower, you bounce so far to safety. It should not be a safe mechanic to jump in Herald and headbutt into a tower. That should be a risk that you're taking. There ain't no risk to it because you're bounced so far to safety. It's weird. So, new slow start. For the first 3 seconds after spawning, Rift Herald has a very high maneuverability and will be easier to turn. Every 2 seconds after Herald, slowly becomes less maneuverable and its speed increases. So it's just, in case you kind of haven't got the angle right at the beginning, you can try and, like, you know, really turn to get the angle. Damage from wall collision. Crashing into a wall while containing Herald will deal damage equal to that crashing into a tower, which it was. Now it's crashing into a wall while controlling Herald will deal 20% of the damage received compared to crashing into a tower. Interesting. And then we don't have all game. Player summoned Rift Herald trinket. Oh, sorry. Player summoned Rift Herald trinket spawning has been sped up by 1 second. So when you're like summoning in it and then it's spawning and then you can jump in it, it was taking too long. So they're just speeding it up a bit. Fair enough. So we've got ARAM changes, mythic shop stuff, behavioral. What's this? After reporting a player for verbal abuse and or hate speech, you will see a pop-up at the end of the game where you can easily block the player and change your chat settings. To prevent this pop-up from showing each time, you can use the do not show this again toggle. If you want to re-enable the modal later, you can do so in settings. And then also increase the duration of most chat penalties. Interesting. Bug fixes, I've always said look at these yourself individually, especially if you're playing, you know, if you play Caitlyn, then you should read that. If you play Kai'Sa, you should read that. Definitely read the ones that you play. And there's the upcoming skins. But there we go. That was a long patch, but obviously we're still in the early season, so Riot is still making these quite big changes to try and balance the game. This isn't the innate issue, let's be honest, of not having a pre-season. I personally think, and I will raise it when I'm in a dev meeting or two in this season, I will basically be like, maybe, yeah, a 3-month preseason was stupid. We didn't need a 3-month preseason. But, like, hilariously, as dumb as it sounds, even 2 weeks. So 1 patch cycle, we get patches every 2 weeks. Even if you did a 2-week patch cycle just to get the initial data and tone down things you need to initially, that would be healthier than just kind of going, good luck, everyone. The floodgates are open. Because obviously the first week or two of ranked and everything was an absolute fiesta. Just 2 weeks would help. A month would be better, but just 2 weeks I think would be good. You can do it in December. Finish the season December 9th. Do a 2-week thing. Or I don't know, like do it over Christmas so people that really want to play can. It's pre-season. So like if you don't play, you're not getting punished. And then boom, the start of January, boom, you've got the new rank season. Yeah, literally do it over the 2 weeks of Christmas. That would probably be the best way to do it. I don't know. But anyway, that's going to be it. If you guys enjoyed, and obviously I'm going to get this edited and uploaded right now. If you appreciate the effort, please do throw a like on the video. Comment what you think, what you agree with, disagree with, etc. Like the video as well. That does help out. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime.